Hey, I've gotten some mail, and this video is me trying to answer that mail. So it's a Q&A session, and at the same time, it's also a bit of a list review, I guess. I've received like this. Sorry, I'm babbling here. I've received this email from a viewer of my channel, and I will show you what he writes here. There we go. Right. Dear Paul, first I wanted to thank you for reviewing my UCMC list and my Ranger Army lists. You're welcome. Um, this is from Mason, who I reviewed a couple of lists for. I took the advice from your review and updated my UCMC list, and I'll be running the updated list at the US Nationals. Wish me luck. I wish you luck. Good going. I look forward to. Please let me know how it went. In the meantime, I've been looking for a minor allied nation to build an army for, and I've been looking at both Belgium and Poland. I've made two army lists in what I feel like plays to the nation's strengths at the best, but I'm also not certain if what I made is actually the best thing for those nations. For Belgium, my main concern is getting inexperienced infantry to trigger the special rule for the free infantry squad. With both nations, I was pretty interested in the motorcycle squad options, and I was wondering if my Poland build was viable in that sense. Lastly, taking into account the tournament rules I've seen on which MMG teams autopin, so some tournaments have this MMG rule, which I think they borrowed it from the Joker pack. It's a really cool rule. We've played around with it in Denmark as well. Not in competitive tournaments, but I think it's a really cool rule that should be considered, and especially maybe for version 3 of the rules if they ever come out. I built a US Market Garden platoon as well, taking advantage of that rule with a lot of DACA. You don't have to review everything, of course. Review whatever you want. It doesn't all have to be at once either, but I like at least your look at Poland and Belgium. From Mason Theme, aka the World War Whale. Right. So that was what he sent to me, and I have the lists here for us to look at. Um, so and I'm not going to review. This is not going to be a full list review. Just it's going to be sort of a talk through with what is normally good with this. Belgium. Belgium has the same special national rule as France, which means that you get some free units. And you can trigger that unit, the free infantry section, which is cool. So this is sort of a horde build that you're building here. A lot of inexperienced infantry sections with BARs, and that can work. So in that respect, yes, okay. Um, but what is really good here is the artillery slot, because with Belgium you get a free artillery piece as well. And um, Mason here uses it to buy an anti-tank gun, which I think is a pity, because what a horde army typically does is it puts out a screen of infantry in front of its guns, and that infantry is going to be in the way of your anti-tank gun. So what I would do is I would buy two howitzers, one free and one I would buy with points, and then I would buy a heavy mortar of some sort. You're buying a medium mortar here, but I would get the heaviest one I could get. That would mean that you have, in a single platoon, 3 artillery pieces with indirect fire that are pretty nasty. And then you can buy your horde of infantry after that. Of course, that means that you have very little anti-tank capability, so you're going to need to have a look at that. But that is where Belgium really shines for me. So I would really consider that. Another possibility is what you're doing here with the grenadiers, putting light mortars into the grenadier sections. You can even go VB launcher in some of the units, because that will give you extra artillery. In the case here, light mortars, but still, firing 3 light mortars at a unit is very, very dangerous. Let me tell you, I've had Japanese players do it to me quite a lot, and that is not fun. So for me, the Belgium units here, the Belgiums are, I like going with Belgium as a second minor nation. That is really cool. Um, but I think you should focus on indirect fire with Belgium. Then we have Poland, the Black Brigade Squadron, which is all motorbikes here. So one, two, three, four, five motorbike section. Um, this is, of course, a recce army, and as such, you can do it. It is more or less all recce. However, with Poland, if you're not bringing lancers, you're not being competitive with Polish. I'm sorry. Um, that is where they really shine. The rest of it is just, yeah. The Ursus heavy armored car, it's really nice. I like it. It's basically a tank, although it's not a heavily armored car because it's only 7 plus, but it has an anti-tank gun and it has double MMGs, so really cool. But I think the motorbikes are, yeah, they're pretty expensive, and they're skirmish units, right? If you're paying expensive points for a skirmish unit, you might as well go with something American, something on foot, something that just shoots a little bit of rifles. I don't think this is the way to go. And then we have the air landing Americans here. These are actually quite cool. 19 order dice at 1,000 points is way too high, though. You can cut that down a lot if you want to do that. Um, we have skirmish sections again of glider squads, pathfinders, also good at skirmishing, more pathfinders, Dutch resistance. They are a backline holder. They're inexperienced. They're not very good. Medium machine guns, a lot of medium machine guns. And with the pack that you're talking about here, bringing 6 machine guns is auto pins. You can actually, you know what? With some units, you can more or less kill it in a single turn just by pinning it. That is really dangerous. So yeah, I like this. With that pack, inexperienced, yes, you're just delivering that pin. You just wanted to hit once for the pin. Really like it. Light mortar inexperienced, light mortar inexperienced. I think you should buy medium mortars here. They're a little bit more expensive, but I think you can cut down on something else to just get them to medium. Bazooka, very good. Anti-tank gun, you don't need that. You don't need that. Use the point for medium mortars instead. Um, yeah, I'm not a fan of anti-tank guns, as you may hear. Armored jeeps, very cool. Very, very cool. Pintle-mounted HMG, I don't think you actually need a pintle-mounted HMG. If you can go MMG instead, I think you should. Um, your bazooka should be enough of your anti-tank to deal with most issues, and especially since you have a bazooka and a jeep. So that would be my feedback here. The Belgians go with indirect fire. The Polish, get yourself some lancers. And the Darker, get yourself some mortars. Very cool. Good luck at the Nationals in the US, Mason. And let me hear how it went. Cheers.